All right. Am I audible? I should be, yeah. Okay, I think everything should be up and running. If it's not, please somebody to let me know. Once again, I think this is the third or fourth time I'm doing this. It's still as what is it? It was the first time. Greetings, good morning, good afternoon, good evening to wherever you may be in the world. Welcome back to Aero League Racing Season 19 of the GR3 Championship. This is the Tier 3 White Division, and this is Round 3 around Interlagos. Whew. Every time I do it, it's always a bit of stress to get it right, but I think I've done well this time around. So, welcome everyone. We have 15 drivers with us. I see people are joining in as well, so welcome everyone. A few of the drivers have told me how to pronounce their names. Last time around, I think I chose just the pronunciation that made the most sense to me, but this time around, I have been told a few of the drivers' names. So, starting with the driver on pole, it's Dijkstra in the Audi in P1. Then we have the driver who's wanting me to call him the speedy Brazilian nugget, Fancy Locks in P2 at his home Grand Prix. I think the only Brazilian on the grid. We will get to the rest in a bit. Then we have the Lamborghini of A in P3. Right behind him is his teammate Epsilon Delta in P4. So I think the two Lamborghinis are close together. I would expect Cherry is the other BMW. So BMWs are also usually they tend to stick to close to one another in quali. But I think this time around Cherry's not had the best run. But let's see how the sprint goes. Goose 87 is in P5 in the McLaren. Turbo Boy in 6 in the Peugeot. Deco P7 in the Alfa Romeo. Cherry a few places behind his teammate. I think he'll be a bit disappointed with P8. Kling Kachau, who wants to be called the Great Dane, is in P9, and Y Cube is in P10, the Spanish Jaguar driver. And outside the top 10, we have JMS in the Alfa Romeo in 11th, Arix Roblox in P12 in McLaren, Rocket in 13th in the NSX, D-Dubs in the BWT liveried Mercedes in 14th, and Nate in 15th in the other Peugeot. So there you go, that's the classification. Let's just have a look at the tire situation. I didn't have a look at that earlier on. So there you go. Everybody on the soft tires, as you would expect, Interlagos is not as demanding on the tires as some other tracks. But nonetheless, 10 laps of the sprint. Well, let's go. Hello JMS, you've come just in time for lights out. 5 lights, and when the lights go out, we go racing. It seems to be a good start for Dijkstra. Fancy Locks has also got a decent run. As we go towards turn 1, let's have a look who's going to be. Is Fancy Locks going to go for a move into turn 1? He is, but will Dijkstra allow it? I think Fancy Locks has the advantage, and he's up into P1. Further back, I see, oh, there's cars going all over, and that's Epsilon Delta facing the corner that he's just taken. Oh, that's gone terribly wrong for him, but there seemed to be a lot more where that came from. So what's happening? So I think Turbo Boy has made some contact, and who will just Concertina up here? I think it's just a case of wrong place, wrong time. Epsilon Delta finds himself at the very tail end of the order, and this is Deco and the Great Dane battling one another as we go towards what was this turn called? I forgot. I remember the name. It's the end of Sector 1. So Descida do Lago, I think that's what it's called, the Brazilian name. Oh, and this is a battle going on here between Dijkstra and A, and I think A has got the advantage and moves up into P2. So Dijkstra has fallen down. The Ordan has gone off circuit there. That may net him a penalty if he wasn't careful about how his throttle and foot were. But that's a pretty unfortunate start to the race for Dijkstra down to P3 all the way from P1. And what a start for Fancy Locks. Home race up into P1. And he's already got a decent advantage over A. Let's see how long he'll be able to hold up the Lamborghini's charge, if at all. Oh, that was Dijkstra almost going off circuit there as we reach Junsao. The few corner names that I know, and Dijkstra will not be enjoying that particular corner exit. Deco will be very eager to make the move. Let's see if we can do so. Dijkstra is the inside, Deco is the outside, and there you go. The Alpha is up into P3, but for how long? Dijkstra is still there, looking to make a move into the Senna as we start lap 2. Dijkstra's fallen down 3 places. Will he be able to regain one of those as we go into the Senna SS for the second time in this race? For the back, there is the Great Dane right behind him, looking to make some moves as well. Dijkstra, I think, is just pretty upset right now under that helmet. You would expect it going from P1 to P4, but I think P3 is what he targets right now, and Deco is going to be his victim by the looks of it. Dijkstra goes down the inside. Great Dane almost hits him, and there you go. Dijkstra back into P3, and that's Fancy Locks in P1. And why are we seeing that sponsor board? Yeah, there you go. Back to the action. So Dijkstra now into P3. Let's see if he can pull away from Deco. He needs to do so very quickly if he wants to get close back up to where Fancy Locks is right now. So let's have a look further back. Epsilon still a long way up the field as you would expect it, but I see some action going on here between the likes of D-Dubs and is it Turbo Boy? D-Dubs looking to get a bit feisty for P11 by the looks of it. Up front, the two McLarens are running close to one another, so one of them not had a particularly good start. I can't really remember who. I think it was Goose who's actually fallen from P4, I think it was, to P8. So that's not going to be very fun for him to look back on. Cherry is coming under pressure from the McLaren of Arix. So let's see if the Finn can get past the Brit as we go towards the Senna Assist Turn 1, one of the most picturesque racetracks in the world, not just in the game. This is one of my personal favorite tracks, and I think we're going to see a move possibly here. Arix down the inside, no, they're all going to hold position, and I think those further down the order, so the likes of Rocket and GMS, actually we'll get to that in a moment. We, I think, are going to see a move coming here. Arix and Cherry. Cherry is going to try to block the inside as we go towards the Cedar do Lago down the right of Acosta, and as we go into the braking zone, yeah, Cherry has the inside, so there's no way past for Arix, and the BMW holds on to P6. Arix will stay in P7 for now. I think Goose will just be looking to he'll be hoping, fingers crossed, that these two ahead of him come to blows, and that gives him an opportunity, and he's got his opportunity. He's gone for it, and he's up into P7. Goose up into the position where his teammate was, and now looking to set after Cherry. Oh, the two McLarens make contact, teammates. I don't think Arix would have been particularly happy to see the same car as his own right in front of him, occupying the same piece of tarmac that he would have wished to. But now it's the two McLarens have inverted. It's now Goose chasing after Cherry. So Cherry seemed to struggle a little bit coming out of Junsao, which is this corner, last meaningful corner, I should say. So I think, yeah, this is a corner where Cherry just doesn't seem to have the confidence on the throttle, I think, to put down the power. Let's have a look here. We will go back to this little battle here as well. So quite a few cars battling it out for position. Let's have a look. Cherry versus Goose as we go into the Senna SS. Cherry will still have the inside line, mind you, so he can still brake a little bit later and force Goose into taking some evasive action or going for the switchback, and I think he's played it well. Cherry still holds on to P6. Up front, yeah, Dijkstra has managed to hold on to P3 as well, so Fancy Lock seems to be well in control. The speedy Brazilian Nugget is quite speedy right now, up in P1. A in P2, I think, is just looking to settle in, probably. There's still a long way in this race to go, so anything can still happen. Never say never. Goose, well, he just is visibly a lot faster, but then you have traffic ahead of you. It's just very difficult to make the most of your pace advantage. I think quite a few drivers would be able to relate to that, those who raced yesterday in the race, regardless of your tier. So, as the case, Cherry is giving Goose a run for his money, but Goose has got the outside line. He's held that well. I think Cherry just didn't anticipate Goose to have all that grip around the outside, and there you go. Goose moves up into P6. Arix finds a way past up into P7. Now the McLarens are going to go almost side by side, or is Cherry going to have his way back past Arix? There's a little bit of contact here, and Cherry with the inside line, I think, will be able to nudges way past Alex or Willie. They're side by side, the McLaren and the BMW. And as we go towards the start-finish line to begin lap 5, these two are going to be level pegging, Alex and Cherry. And what about Turbo Boy? Can Turbo Boy make it? Can he get two cars in one go? Alex and Cherry battling it out. Alex onto the grass, has a half sprint. Can he save it? Oh, there's some contact, but I think thanks to Turbo Boy's kind bump there, Alex was able to stay on track, else he would have been facing the part of the racetrack that he just came across, and that's a half-second penalty for the McLaren driver. I assume that's for some off-track excursion as per the game. Turbo and Cherry battling it out. And well, I didn't expect the two McLarens to go elbows out with one another. I expected that to be the case with Cherry, but not with each other. Alex now coming under pressure from, who is it? That's Rocket in the NSX. So currently running P10, and well, what's going on here? I think somebody has had a bit of a moment here. Turbo Boy, what's happened to Turbo Boy? Let's have a look. Oh, battling it out with Cherry. Turbo Boy just onto the grass. That's Alex pass. That's Rocket pass, and JMS ahead of the Peugeot as well. Y-Cube has a penalty of 1 second, and okay, this is getting very, very chaotic here. Y-Cube now up into P10, JMS down to P11, but here the inside line into the Bico de Pato. Fancy looks, please do correct me. All my pronunciation is gonna get you all riled up, I think. I don't think I'm the best at these names. No team game there. Indeed, I'm a little surprised to see that Alex will have to slow down here. Rocket will, I think, be able to get past. I don't think the same goes for JMS. Rocket will have an advantage here with the help of Slipstream. Will Alex defend it? I don't think he will. And there you go. Alex has to let Rocket by, but will he defend against JMS? Well, that's why we have comms, I think, to give drivers a fresh perspective on the events of the race that occurred all around them. So Alex now down to P9. Goose has picked up a penalty. What's happened here to Goose? Cherry, and he's got his wipers on, so maybe that's obstructing his vision. Oh, I think that's pretty straightforward there. That's the reason Goose has a 1.5 second penalty to his name. What about, oh, what's going on here? Oh, it's a 3-wide battle. Let's rewind and let's have a look at this. So Dijkstra battling it out with Deco and the Great Dane. Let's have a look. So the Jaguar with the inside line. Alpha's just blocked there. There's not a whole lot that the Alpha can do. Dijkstra blocks off the Alpha's charge and holds on to P3 just about, though. That was very, very close. That was getting very, very hairy for a moment there. And Dijkstra holds on to P3, or does he? Because it looks like the Jaguar wants to get up into the podium places. It is the sprint, but that I don't think is going to deter drivers from making any audacious moves here. They have a whole feature ahead of them, but they want the most possible points out of the sprint. Whoa, that was a moment and a half, I think, there for Dijkstra. As we go through Bico de Pato, and that's Dijkstra is struggling with rear end grip, so I don't know what's the issue here because his tires seem to be in good nick. Let's have a look. Corner exit. Not too much sliding this time around, so I think Dijkstra's got it under control here. Further back, there you go. Deco slowing down, Goose slowing down. I think Deco just picked up a penalty while we were off screen. Cherry is up into P6 ahead of the McLaren once again. Rocket has just, I think, kept it clean and has seen those around him falter. So we've seen Goose get a penalty. Now Rocket's a lot closer to Goose than he otherwise would have been. We see, well, where's the car? I'm sorry. Alex is behind him, yeah. Alex and the other McLaren also had a moment and got a time penalty. And we are seeing some position trading going on here between Kling and Dijkstra. Let's have a look through the it's not the Curva Grande, that's in Monza, sorry. This is the left turn that leads up to the Descida del Lago. There's a little bit of contact there between the Jag and the Audi. I think Dijkstra will retake P3, but I don't think Kling will be particularly pleased with that. I assume there were a few reports in store, and yeah, I think this is one of the incidents that was definitely reported. Kling will be particularly unhappy with that move. And there you go. Kling with a 1.5 second penalty. Deco a few seconds further back, but I think once Kling slows down for the penalty, he will possibly have a chance to overtake the Jaguar driver. What about Cherry? Can Cherry do something about dispatching Deco? What about Goose? Can Goose retake the position that he just lost to Cherry? Yeah, indeed, I am... Oh, it is you who's commenting, yeah. A very harsh penalty for the Great Dane, I agree. Yeah, penalties are a little too harsh around here. I'm not sure why they were so strict. Usually, despite the strictness of the setting, I don't think I've ever faced such strictness with in regards to penalties. I think with the penalty for the Jaguar driver there, I assume it would be logical to assume that the top 3 is set in stone here. Fancy seems to be, well, fancying P1 right now, just enjoying out in front. A is keeping him honest, but he is a little too far back to attack him right now. He has got the fastest lap of the race. He is not that far behind either, but I think Fancy just got it under control. Just knows that he needs to keep it clean and nothing more to worry about. So, oh, that's... For a moment I thought that was the Great Dane going towards the wall. Deco is now obviously a whole lot close thanks to the penalty that the Jaguar driver had to serve. Cherry... Well, he's keeping Goose at arm's length. I don't think Goose is as feisty as he was earlier on in the race. Something that the drivers will definitely be looking out for is the tyre wear situation. So for most cars it looks fine. So I think for some cars I will have a look up and down the field as well. So for most drivers I think they can opt, if they are particularly aggressive, for a hard to soft, because I think you do need to use the hard tyre around here unless you want to do 2 stops, which would be a little slower. But let's see how the feature goes. For now we are coming towards the end of the sprint. Are there any battles to look out for? Will A get the fastest lap? No. I think he is also running out of tyres, and he knows that it doesn't make sense to lose a potential P2 in pursuit of... well, Fancy is pretty comfortably in P1. I think A also knows that it's a pretty good position to finish in, nonetheless, P2. What about Deco and Great Dane? I think they will also... I don't think Deco's close enough to make a move this time around as we go down the Reto Posta towards the Sierra del Lago. And people setting purple sector 1, that we would expect that. Sometimes you just get a magical run through the Senna's, and it's just the car feels... You feel at one with the car. Cherry and Goose. Cherry still being hassled by Goose, but Goose is not able to close up at the rate I expected him to on Cherry. So I think Cherry's also just got a bit more comfort with how the car handles, how far he can push the track limits as well. So yeah, I think these two, unless there's a bit of a mistake for Cherry or Junsao, I would expect Goose to stay in P7. Yeah, Rocket in P8, I think he'll be pretty pleased with that. I don't think he's had to worry a whole lot. Those around him have had a few skirmishes here and there. Turbo Boy, after that earlier slide off track excursion, is now in P9 and looking, I think, set to give Rocket a bit of trouble on the very last lap. I think Rocket's ran a little bit wide there, probably missed his braking point a little bit. As we start lap 10, Fancy's already into the Senna's, the Brazilian, at his home race. Obviously this would mean a lot to him, winning his home race, and I think he is definitely on course to do that, at least in the sprint. Let's see how the feature goes. A in P2, I think, will also be pretty pleased with that. Dijkstra is, I think, going to be happy with P3, but I think with the reports incoming, maybe Kling may report him. That may be a problem for him. And JMS, I will have a look at your rear wing. Well, it's not letting me. I will probably go back to one of the... I'll have a look at it via this race photos option. But I think we will have a look at the last lap for now. This is a battle for P4. We have a battle for P6 as well. Cherry and Goose. What about these two? Rocket coming under increased pressure from Turbo Boy. JMS currently running P10 is in a great spot if he finishes exactly here, because that will give him P1, obviously. Don't worry, JMS, I will be pulling up the race photos thing and having a look at your rear wing before the start of the feature, and that was very close. Arix is desperate. He wants that P10. He knows that he's not had a particularly fun race, and I think I will rewind here. I have given a lot of airtime to those further back, and I'll give a little bit of airtime to him as well. Fancy Locks wins the sprint race. What a fantastic drive by him. A finishes P2 in the Lamborghini. Dijkstra finishes P3 in the Audi Kling. I don't think he'll be particularly pleased with that. The Great Dane. Deco has a penalty. Where will that leave him at the end of it all? I think he's just about managed to finish ahead of Cherry and Goose. What about these guys? Rocket. Oh, Arix and JMS. It's a photo finish. Rocket finishes ahead of Turbo, ahead of JMS. Arix in 11th. D-Dubs in 12th. Y-Cube in 13th. Nate in 14th, a bit of a race to forget for Nate, and Epsilon has a 6.5 second penalty. I wonder what could have caused that. Well, definitely, I think every Brazilian loves this track. Even non-Brazilians love this track, like myself. So, there we go. It's a fantastic race. Fancy Locks wins. Epsilon finishes in 15th, not the race he wanted. And as per the request, I'll have a look here. Is this what I need to look at? Yeah, this is it. So, no, that's the wrong button. Yeah. Well, somebody is greeting Fancy Locks here. There you go, JMS. That's a very nicely made livery, I must say. Very neat, very stylish. And there you go. A bit of a greeting to Fancy Locks. And there you go. That is the end of the sprint race. We now move on to the feature. So I will very quickly pull up the feature race. Thank you to Epsilon Delta for providing for uploading the replay. And I didn't see who's done the sprint, so thank you to, I think it was Goose who's uploaded the sprint, so thank you to Goose as well, and I think Fancy's also done so thank you. Everybody's been very kind to upload the replays pretty early on, but nonetheless we now move on to the feature race. 26 laps around this wonderful circuit, and let's have a look at the tire strategy. So I would expect most people to be on the hards for the first stint. Let's see if someone proves me wrong. So JMS on the sorry. Thank you, Great Dane. I'm very pleased to hear that. I'm glad to see that you are able to watch this at your convenience as well. Thank you, as always. Well, let's have a look at the tire situation. JMS is on the hard tires in P1. So it is the ideal place to start, obviously. He will avoid the bulk of the traffic, which these guys will have to go through. So let's have a look at the tire situation. Turbo Boy is on the hards as well. Rocket on the mediums. So, well, I think depending on how long he can drag these medium tires, he may then either go for the softs, but I don't assume the NSX will be particularly kind on its tires, or maybe I'm just making assumptions here, but let's see what he does. He's on the mediums. Goose on the hards and the McLaren. The McLaren has historically been a little kind on its tires. I would have expected Goose to maybe opt for a medium to soft, but he's opted for the hards. Cherry's also gone for the hards. Deco on the hards as well. So is the Great Dane. So is A. In the Lamborghini. Dijkstra's on the medium tires. And what about our sprint winner, Fancy Locks? It's a home race for him, and he's on the hard tires. Arix in 11th. He'll be very upset. It was a photo finish, but it was P11 for him. So he is in the latter half of the grid. He is on the hards. So is D-Dubs. So is Y-Cube. What about Nate? Also on the hards. And the same goes for Epsilon. So only two drivers, Dijkstra and Rocket, are on the medium tires. The rest of the field is on the hard tires. I'm going to take a moment to drink some water before I start the feature race. There you go. 26 laps of this, not the sprint, is the feature. Coming right up, we will be able to hear the lights, we won't be able to see them. GMS will lead them away, the Irish driver. Let's have a look who's going to come out on top. 5 lights go out and we go racing. It seems to be a good start for GMS. I think he already wanted to cover off giving Turbo any slipstream, or are they just trying to generate some heat into the tires as we go into turn 1? And that was almost Turbo Boy running into the back of GMS. Goose has run very wide on those hard tires and is coming under so much pressure from Cherry. For a moment it looked like Cherry was going to get past, but I think they'll all hold position for now. This is getting feisty. It's the battle for the lead. GMS will do, I think, everything in his power to hold off Turbo Boy's charge here as we reach the Cedar del Lago, and GMS will hold on to P1. I think we're just about, they are all sliding. The hards are giving them no grip right now, as you would logically expect. Deco and Cherry battling it out. Goose has been able to just regain some composure and find some momentum, and he is in, holds on to his position. What about the Great Dane? What about A? Dykstra and oh, Fancy Locks is, where's Fancy? Oh, what's happened to Fancy Locks? The Brazilian at his home race. What's happened here? Oh, I didn't expect that. I was trying to see where Fancy was in all this chaos. So as we exit the Senna S's, and oh no, and that's damage for Fancy Locks as well. Oh, that's not the way he would have wanted his race to start. And well, if it was the very first time around this track with this car on these tires, well, you're doing a pretty good job, I would say, GMS. Turbo Boy is close, but I don't. Well, I think he just has a little bit more grip right now compared to what you do, GMS. So let's see how the rest of the lap pans out for the pair of you. What's going on here? A is coming under pressure from Dykstra. Dykstra trying for a move around the outside possibly. He is on the mediums. He'll have a little bit more grip. His tires will be warmed up a little bit more. And yeah, I think as you would logically expect, Dykstra is making moves already. He wants to get as high up the order as he can. He's on the mediums. He's on a different strategy compared to those around him. Let's see how well it pays off for him into Jun Sao, and that's Jaguar almost losing the rear end there, almost running into the back of Deco. Link the chow. Great Dane. Dykstra and Kling are going to be side by side almost as we go into sort of lap 2, and JMS is not able to pull away from Turbo Boy on lap 1. Let's see if lap 2 gives him more confidence. Into turn 1 we go. What about Rocket? Rocket, the only other car in the medium, so Goose was coming under a lot of pressure from Cherry, but I think now it's Cherry coming under pressure from Deco. Great Dane and Dykstra are also battling it out, but the battle up front is pretty close. JMS, I think, is taking some time to get to grips with the tires. I don't think the hards are warming up at the rate he would like them to. The Irish driver coming under pressure from the British quintet behind him. It's Turbo, Rocket, Goose, Cherry and Deco, all of whom have the British flag. Let's see what they can do. Ah, well, how thoughtful of you, JMS. That is so nice of you to think about comms as well. It is going to be pretty interesting to see how this battle plays out, because Turbo's very close, Rocket's very close to Turbo, Rocket's on mediums. Turbo's very feisty, but he just cannot seem to find a way past GMS right now, and I think GMS settling into a rhythm, understanding what the limits of the tire compound are, and I think he's steadily beginning to build up a bit of a gap. What about these guys? Dykstra in P5, I think I missed something here. Yeah, he was in P7. Cherry and Deco battling it out, and Dykstra sends it down the inside. Oh. Yeah, I don't think Deco will be particularly pleased with that. Battling it out with Cherry, and Dykstra sends one down the inside. Whoa! And he is not a very good cinematic camera, but I think that despite that, Dykstra up into P5, just trying to minimize the time lost behind other cars. But yeah, there you go. That invites possibilities of reporting. again, reports against him, I should say. So Dijkstra up into P5. But let's see how the rest of the race pans out. So the Great Dane moves up into P6 ahead of Cherry. So I don't think either of these guys will be particularly happy with that. And well, I think you need to say the exact words Seb said back in China 2016. You came like a torpedo. And I think Dijkstra will reply by saying that it's racing, as KVR did. But yeah, that was a bit opportunistic there, I think. I assume Cherry realized just in time that Dijkstra was about to send it. Otherwise, I think it would have been a pretty monumental crash. But nonetheless, up front, well, GMS, the thoughtful lad that he is, has given us a bit of a battle to watch out for up front, as he himself mentioned in the comments right now. So Turbo, at one point I think we'll be able to sense the frustration in his driving, that he's just not able to find a way past GMS. Even if he may have the pace, GMS is just getting the perfect exits that he needs to. And all that is just not allowing Turbo Boy to move up into P1. Rocket in P3 is also, I think he'll also be getting frustrated, is on the mediums. So you would expect him to be worrying a little bit more about tires than those around him, all of whom are on the hards, apart from Dijkstra. So, well, let's see. Fancy's got the fastest lap, and I can see Fancy's already bridged the gap to the back of the field as well by a fair bit. So let's see how his rest of his race goes. Let's see if he can do something, possibly get into the top 6 probably. He had pretty good pace in the sprint. I would expect it to carry over to the feature as well. Rocket through the, well, not the Curva Grande. I'm sorry, I've not done comps for Interlagos in a while. I've forgotten all my corner names. I know this one. This is Decided Lago, the place where two lakes meet. I think the Brazilians can let me know if I'm right or wrong there. It's about all I remember from previous seasons doing comps here. Dijkstra closing up to Goose. So the two medium runners are going to be very close to one another, I feel, in the next few laps. Probably by lap, maybe even by the next lap, I think Dijkstra might be able to find his way past Goose. Turbo is still staring at the back of the very beautifully designed rear wing of GMS Play as we go through Merulio. Is this the downhill left-hander? Very iconic corner, obviously, in F1 speak. Dijkstra has the fastest lap. Oh, JMS got very badly out of shape there, but managed to hold it. I think that was almost a code brown there for the Alfa Romeo driver. As we start lap 5, JMS still leads, but there is a 4-car train right behind him, led by Turbo Boy, who is coming under so much pressure. Will Rocket go for a move into turn 1? Will Turbo need to defend? Turbo felt the need to defend, so I think he knows that there is a tangible threat from Rocket right behind him. And what these guys really need at this point is to avoid picking up any unnecessary penalties. In their bid to try and get past the guy ahead of them, they just need to avoid picking up a possible penalty here. We've seen penalties being dished out very leniently by the game, so they need to be very careful. Dijkstra tries to move down the inside on Goose. Goose with the switchback, but I don't think it's going to work for him. Goose in P5, Dijkstra moves up to P4. Now the two medium runners are running one behind the other. Rocket in P3, Dijkstra in P4, and there's a battle going on further back as well. What's going on here between Cherry, Deco? Oh, A and Arix make a little bit of contact there. A still holds on to P9, but that was getting pretty feisty for a moment there. A still in P9, Arix in P10, Epsilon, I think he's gone from 15th to 11th, so well, let's see how the rest of the race goes for him. He will be hoping for better horizons. You can see his teammate just one car separates him and his teammate, so let's see how these guys fare. So, sorry, there's a lot to follow, and oh, what's happening here? Dijkstra and Rocket almost seemed like he was gonna T-bone the NSX there, Dijkstra, but I think he gets by. That's just a bit of net code, I think, for the Audi driver. I think Rocket will send it down into turn 1. It would logically be like to assume so. They are still gonna fight it out, and there's a little bit of contact, but Dijkstra moves up into P3, the Dutch driver. What about Goose? Goose has seen Dijkstra just breeze past himself and then Rocket. Will Goose look to make a move as well? On those hard tires, he brakes a little bit later. There's some contact here between him and Rocket, but they get through cleanly. I think Rocket realized that he had a car down his inside and decided to leave a bit of room there. Great Dane obviously also can see two ahead of him battle it out. Goose and Rocket. Whoa, that was... Oh, I didn't expect Rocket to get such fantastic grip there. Gets back past Goose, back up into P4. So on lap 6 it all seems to be getting feisty here, but I think there's one certainty. Turbo Boy will still be following GMS. He won't be very happy about it, but GMS is doing everything absolutely perfectly, everything that he needs to do absolutely perfectly. He is getting the perfect corner exit that he needs. And Turbo just cannot find a way past. Despite him kicking up all the gravel and grass and so on, GMS is still able to hold on to P1. But now, there's a new threat in the form of Dijkstra. Rocket's fallen back quite far behind. Goose is pretty close to Rocket, but I don't think he's close enough to make a move into turn 1. What about the Great Dane? Is he going to go for a move on the McLaren? Are we going to see any moves here down the inside? That is, I think, Dijkstra running a little bit wider there into turn 1, taking a deeper line to get a slightly different exit, taking a different line compared to those in front of him. Let's have a look. Are we going to see any moves here between Goose and Rocket? Are we going to see the McLaren go down the inside once again? I don't think so. For the back, what's going on here? A has moved up to P8. He was running P9, so I think somebody's had a moment. Oh, what's happened to Cherry? With a 1.5 second penalty, I think that's for earlier on in the lap. So here we see Deco get past Cherry. Cherry has the inside line. There's a little bit of contact here, which I don't think Deco will particularly like, but has the inside line Deco and gets past, and A just breezes past the BMW as well. Epsilon and then Y Cube has fallen to P11. Somebody has, I think, had a bit of a moment there. I think Arix has had a moment possibly. Let me have a look. Have I missed something? Yeah, there was a car here, so, and my pursuit of following those ahead, I missed this. I was sure there was a car between the two Lamborghinis, and so A made contact with Arix, and that sent Arix into a pretty straightforward spin. Whoa, YQ would have been pretty damn scared at that moment to see a car just sideways on the track. So there you go. We will have a look at this battle and then get back to the live action. Cherry has Deco right behind him, and A has just made contact with Arix as well. So let's see. I'm sure I saw a few messages saying that there were too many reports from yesterday's race, but I think I can understand why that was the case. So Deco gets a pretty decent run out of Junsao, and as we exit Subeda the boxes, that's one way of saying it. Cherry got a penalty for what exactly? Did he go over the track limit here? Oh, that's harsh. If that is the case, I know it's track limits, but he had a car right beside him. I think that's a little too harsh on Cherry. The BMW driver will be... Oh, But I think as unfortunate as it may be, that is the case. Every driver will have to follow that particular rule. So let's see how Cherry bounces back from this 1.5 second disadvantage that's been just given to him. A and Deco battling it out. Deco, I think, is just able to keep the Lamborghini at bay. Well, yeah, definitely the game knows what it's doing. Much like Kimi Raikkonen, just very well aware that necessitates a 1.5 second penalty being given to Cherry. Epsilon's gotten ahead of the, well, wounded BMW, and up into a P9. YQ can see the driver ahead has a penalty and will be, I think, just biding his time. And come what may, no matter what the penalty, there is one certainty: Turbo Boy is still behind JMS. How frustrated would he be at this point? Just try to put yourself in the driver's seat of this particular Peugeot here. The number 10, that's a pretty nice number there. The number 10 Peugeot. Turbo Boy will be getting pretty frustrated there, but there's just nothing that he can do. JMS is doing everything almost perfectly. Just keep himself in the driver's seat and in P1. That's what he is managing to make sure. Definitely. Well, alright, Great Dane, I hope that you enjoyed the rest of the comms, and there's a little bit of contact here, as we was about to mention that Turbo is getting very, very frustrated. I think some of the frustration is showing there in that particular move. Now Dijkstra is trying to find a way past, and this is, well, I didn't expect this particular corner to be 3 wide, but it almost was. Dijkstra finds a way past. I think Turbo will send it down the inside. JMS breaks early, and Dijkstra, sorry, Turbo runs into the back of him, and Dijkstra is just trying to find the one bit of tarmac that will give him some clean air and let him find a way past these two. So, yeah, I think GMS is starting to struggle a little bit possibly. Dijkstra's tires are running out. It is lap 8, but let's see how he fares. Turbo will now be even more frustrated. He now has a car between himself and GMS, and Rocket right on his tail. And Goose not too far behind Rocket either. And there's a Great Dane. Alright, A breaks that train here. But this is gonna get so feisty. 6 cars are within earshot of P1 pretty much. So let's see what's going on here. The battle for the lead, the battle for P3, the battle for P4. There's so many battles. Thank you, Tier 3 White. It is a pleasure to see so much action going on, and well, these two are going to be battling it out. The 3 behind are going to be battling it out. And Turbo Boy is still somehow, well, behind GMS. He has a car between himself and GMS, but he is still behind GMS. So Alpha breaks early once again. I'm not sure what's happening here. Is he just struggling with grip? Is GMS? So probably that's what's giving him a bit of trouble here. These 3 have still held position despite being so close. Turbo runs a little bit wider there. Rocket is also a little bit wide. Goose, and there you go. The battle still rages on, but the flame is about to be diminished in this particular battle. Dijkstra has made his way up into P1. JMS falls to P2. Oh, and Dijkstra spins! Oh no. I think that was inevitable. Well, let's have a look, because I don't think that there was no contact there. I think Dijkstra just clipped the grass on entry there at Beacon de Pato, and Rocket runs into the side of him. Rocket has damage, as you would logically expect. So fortunes change, but what must stay constant remains constant. Turbo Boy is still behind GMS. 10 laps stuck behind a driver. That must be so frustrating for Turbo, but there's nothing GMS is doing wrong here. Dijkstra and Rocket. I don't think Rocket will be particularly pleased with that, but I don't think that is something that's particularly anything that he can complain about. Dijkstra will claim that it was just a loss of grip, and when he was rejoining, it just happened to be that Rocket was there on track, occupying the same piece of tarmac that Dijkstra was arriving onto. Goose in P5, well, he's seen a fair bit of chaos unfold ahead of him. Great Dane in P6, but will Goose go for a move here down the inside on Rocket? And he does. There's a little bit of wheel banging there, but I think Rocket gives him enough room. He also realized that there's a car down the inside. And, well, how did Kling get first? Okay. Somehow the Great Dane finds a way past with a great move. So alright, they were crossing one another out, and he goes for a move around the outside. That was a fair bit of opportunism by the Danish driver there. And as we go into this right-hander, uphill right-hander, Rocket, who was looking set to be in P3 for a moment there, is now down in P6. And he has I think steadily just closing on this entire pack, no matter who it may be. A is who it may be in P6, I should say. A is slowly and steadily clawing his way back up the field. Epsilon, his teammate, is right behind him in P8. Y-Cube in P9, and Fancy has got back into the top 10. I think Cherry didn't make life too hard for him, and I think he just let his teammate by. We missed that overtake, obviously, but I don't think Cherry made life very difficult for Fancy. Lap 11, and what has remained constant is still constant. Turbo Boy, just so much frustration for the driver of the Peugeot. The extra in E3, I think, will once again be setting after the two ahead of him. However, he needs to be mindful about his tires. Does he play it safe and go on to the hards, or does he opt for a very aggressive strategy and go on to the softs? For a moment it looked like he was about to go into the wall, but he saves it. Turbo Boy is getting so close to JMS, and I think JMS is having to brake a little bit earlier at this corner than those around him, and there you go. I think that is case in point. Sliding around a lot, Alfa Romeo driver, and I think this is the opportunity that Turbo Boy has been waiting for so long. JMS is really struggling. His front right is not in the best of shape right now. Unfortunately for Turbo Boy, once again Dijkstra is right behind him and looking poised to make a move into Junsao, is he? No, not this time around. Turbo Boy needs a good exit if he wants to get past JMS, or is it going to be the case for one more lap? Were they? Yeah, the hards I think were pretty resilient on some cars, not on others. Like, personal experience for me, the Beetle was pretty reasonable. And oh, that's Turbo Boy into the pits. Oh, I didn't expect that. And Dijkstra gets a penalty. Oh, another victim of the Interlagos pit entry situation. Turbo Boy goes into the pits, and I didn't expect that. I thought he would stay out. And Dijkstra, I think, just wanted to get the slipstream, and I think in an effort to gain 2/10, he's given himself a penalty for a wound of 1.5 seconds. Turbo Boy into the pits. Great Dane, everybody up position. Great Dane and Rocket were battling it out. A has, well, bridged the gap, but he's not been able to get across that bridge right now. Epsilon in P7, Y-Cube P8. So, okay, Cherry and Fancy traded places, so I don't think they're exactly doing the team game right now. They're just trying to race each other, or maybe Fancy made a mistake. I'm not too sure about that. D-Dubs is having a bit of a quiet race in 11th. Deco 12th, Nate in 13th. Arix will be pretty upset with that contact earlier on. He is in 14th. Turbo comes out on the mediums, so he is opting for an earlier pit stop. I would have expected the guys in the hards to go a little bit longer into the race, say like lap 14 probably, because that would at least guarantee half race distance to be completed. Now what does JMS do? Because his arch nemesis at this point, Turbo Boy, is down in 15th. JMS is coming under pressure from Dijkstra, but it won't matter on this particular lap. Goose will get past. Whoa. Goose will thank ghosting, and Goose will thank the fact that the barriers were a few centimeters away from where he was approaching, because that was very close. Great Dane moves up into P3, and that is, oh my word, no, 3 seconds for that. I think he's lucky to get away in one piece. 3 seconds for this. Well, I'm a bit surprised, honestly. I wasn't expecting that. Goose now has a 3-second penalty to looming over his head, and now the Great Dane is looking set to get P2. All these guys need to make the pit stop, but let's see what time they can gain by staying out the extra few laps. GMS has stayed out, obviously, as we saw. So let's see those who are pitting. So who's it going to be? So that's Dykstra into the pits, and at pit exit, where will he be in regards to Turbo Boy? So the pit exit, okay, so Dykstra's gone on to the softs. So I think, is that optimistic? Half the race distance on the softs. I think Dykstra's, unless he intends to make another pit stop, it's going to be a bit of a problem for him to get past, rather to keep his tires alive by the end of the race. Turbo up into P10. He is presently leading, the net leader, I should say. Once everybody's completed their pit stops, he will be in the lead. You would expect that to be the case. Rocket in 11th has opted for the hards. Okay, Rocket opting for a very conservative strategy. Dykstra opting for a very aggressive strategy. So, well, they are worlds apart right now in terms of their strategy. Goose has to service penalty and a few drivers into the pits. So, no, it's only Kling into the pits actually. Sorry, for a moment it looked like the two Lamborghinis were going to go into the pits there as well, in tandem. Kling pits, Goose pits. Goose's 3-second penalty will really hamper his progress. D-Dub's pits as well. So, Dykstra has got past Turbo Boy. Well, on his out lap, I think Dykstra's already got the same amount of wear that Turbo Boy has on his mediums, which are a lap older than Dykstra's softs. I'm a little concerned for his tire situation here, Dykstra, and he's run a little bit wide into turn 1, runs a little bit deep into that corner. Great Dane, where will he emerge in regards to these two? He is gonna be sorry, still behind them. What about Goose? Rocket has not been able to jump any of these guys. Goose emerges in P10, Kling in P9. I think about, 6? Yeah, 6 drivers have to make their pit stops. Will JMS pit this time around? He's going onto the grass there, but what does he go on to? Is he going longer into the race so that he can go onto the softs? Or is he just going to play it safe and go into the mediums? I think we'll get our answer soon. He will probably be going onto the softs. I think the Alpha is a little kinder on its tires, and the two Lamborghinis are blasting into the pit lane, one after the other, the two teammates. Y-Cube also dives into the pits. Deco stays out. Nate will stay out as well. So for these guys, I'm assuming it would be a hards to softs. That's the only way they can make up positions from the back of the grid. I think Nate didn't have a particularly good sprint either, so we'll expect that to be the case. JMS is the driver. I'm really keen to see how his race unfolds from here, because Turbo Boy is now done, 3 laps on the mediums, and you would assume that JMS was struggling a fair bit already, plus he's on old worn out hard tires. The amount of time that Turbo will be gaining on him, on track time that he'll be gaining, will JMS be able to make up for that on the soft tires or the mediums, whatever he does opt for in the end? And what does JMS's teammate Deco do? What does Nate do? Will Dykstra be able to get to the end on these tires? Will he be able to nurse them home? Doesn't make sense for him to do so, because, well, if he has to nurse these tires, he'll lose quite a few positions here. It is still 11 laps to go once we cross the line. I don't think there's any way his tires are making the finish here. JMS pits, finally. Into the pits comes the Alfa Romeo driver. What tires is he going to go for? Will he play it safe, go for the mediums? What does Deco do? Deco pits as well. Nate comes into the pits, follows the two Alfa Romeos ahead of him, and comes into the pit lane. Let's have a look. Dykstra, Turbo Boy, JMS has changed his tires and will now be loading up some fuel. Obviously, he's gone deeper into the race. He needs to load up a little lesser fuel than those around him. Turbo Boy, Dykstra, where will these two emerge? JMS at pit exit, and Well, I think finally Turbo Boy is going to be able to get past JMS, who has opted to go onto a set of medium tires. He's playing it safe, doesn't want to take any risks with the soft tires. Great Dane also gets past the Alfa Romeo, and now JMS is down to P4. And oh, fair enough, JMS. Must be the water, you might say. I think your racing numbers, the error code that your team got with the strategy here. But nonetheless, I think it's not that bad of a strategy, honestly. I think I did something similar in my race as well. So hards to medium seem to be a pretty reasonable thing. Oh, yeah, extra fuel can be a pretty problematic thing. I think that's probably cost you the position to cling in the Jaguar, loading that extra fuel. I don't think Turbo Boy would have been a target there. But yeah, I think that extra fuel, if that is the case, has cost you some time to cling. Great Dane, otherwise, you might say. Dijkstra is going at it. So I think what Dijkstra is trying to do here is use the softs to their limit and probably just pit again in another 2 or 3 laps time and go on to another fresh set of soft tires, fresh set of boots. So this seems to be the tentative order for now. Dijkstra will be pitting. How quickly he can get through the field at that point will be interesting to see. But once he does pit, Turbo Boy now leads. Finally, he is no longer behind JMS. Great Dane is running P2 and running strong in P2. JMS, let's see if he's able to get close to the Jag and get past. Well, hello Fancy Locks. Good to see you in the chat here. And you're up to P8 after a pretty dismal start. It's still a top 10 and possibly a top 6. That's what I predicted once I saw the spin. So the two Lamborghinis ahead, both of whom have opted for the medium. So drivers pitting a little bit, I think they are pitting exactly when they had to. 15, 16 laps on the hards and 10 or 11 laps on the mediums makes sense. The sky is getting gloomy, but I know from my previous races here and from the comms I did last time that there can be no rain around Interlagos, which is absolutely illogical to me, given the absolute cinema that we witnessed last season in the F1 race around here. That was incredible to watch. Dijkstra is built up a bit of a gap to Turbo Boy, but well, I'm a little concerned about how quickly he'll be able to get back up through the order once he makes his pit stop. Turbo, I think then this is Turbo in the net lead and possibly looking set to win the race. Yeah, I think Gran Turismo is the authority on the allowance of rain at Interlagos. I don't think the Brazilian weather has anything in regards to the GT7 weather system. This is the paramount authority that the circuit needs to go as per, which really makes no sense. This would have been, well, JMS. I was just going through the order here. I was going to say that everybody looks to have settled into a bit of a rhythm here. How has JMS given himself a penalty? What's happened here to the Alfa Romeo driver? So, is it for going wide here? Oh, well, I had the exact same penalty in my race yesterday. And yeah, I think I will assume JMS will share the same sentiment. That is pretty harsh. Although I think the logical reasoning would be that every driver has to deal with it. So, something that I think he can get removed. JMS has the 1 second penalty looming over his head. Goose running in P5. The two Lambos running Linus turn 6th and 7th. I think the pair of them will be able to get past JMS now. Dijkstra's tires are running out. I think he will be pitting next lap. he has enough tires to go on for one more lap, unless he decides to come in this lap. All right. Well, there you go. Oh, the three behind GMS are now ahead of him, and A is very, very close to Goose. Starts out of the slipstream there, but he just doesn't have the straight line advantage once he does so. Into this analysis we go, braking for turn 1. A trying to move on the outside. Epsilon, I think, will give his teammate some breathing room here, won't be giving his teammate too much trouble because they are obviously wanting to, I think, make the most of the team game as well. The Lamborghini with the slipstream is pretty efficient, but I don't think A has... Well, he's trying to send it on the inside. I think Goose has it covered off. So I think once the Lamborghini came out of the slipstream, it really just didn't have a whole lot to play around with in regards to straight line speed, which I'm a little surprised about, if I'm being honest. Epsilon and P5, I think he'll be pretty happy with that. He's gone from 15th to 5th. I think that if there was a driver of the day situation, I think Epsilon should be getting that. GMS in P6, obviously that is due to where has he come out? Dijkstra's come out 14th, and he's got damage. What's happened to Dijkstra? Oh, so he emerged in 14th, and I don't know. Well, let's see what's happened here. So even in the best of situations, there's Y-Cube in the pits as well for some reason. I think, did he not have enough fuel or what? Oh, just getting onto the curbing there, Dijkstra, and hitting the front and rear. I don't know. No matter what the case, 13 places in 7 laps seems like a very tall mountain to climb. And Dijkstra made that mountain a little bit tougher to climb thanks to this crash here. Y-Cube on the softs as well. Not sure why Y-Cube decided to pit. He was running in a pretty decent position. I think he was running around about with these guys, Deco, Cherry, Rocket and so on. So not sure why he's decided to pit. Let's see. 7 laps to go. Anything can happen here. Once we cross the line, it will be lap 20 of 26. These three are still battling it out for the final podium place. A is being followed by his teammate, and ahead of A is Goose 87. Turbo, after all his laps of patience, is running in a pretty, I think, solidified P1 right now. Unless there's a mistake here for him, he is, I think, looking set to just cruise home to the win. Well, I shouldn't have said that. I'm pretty infamous with my commentator process. Great Dane will be pretty happy with the P2, I think, that is running in right now. Obviously, he can see P1 in the distance. He wants that P1. Every racing driver does. But I think he can be pretty pleased with this performance here. Good points for himself and the team. Goose, I think, will have to put in quite a bit of effort here to stay in P3 because the two Lambos behind him are very, very feisty. At this point, yeah, Epsilon has been following for a few laps. Maybe it would have made sense to give Epsilon a chance to get past Goose. A bit of team orders here may have done them some good because Epsilon's been following very nicely for a few laps. I think that means he has quite a bit of pace here. So maybe give him a chance, or maybe A just is saying that he's the car head, so he should have the right of passage and the right of way, I should say, to try and attack Goose. Epsilon, I think, is trying to find his way past his teammate. Is he going to go for a move down the inside and get past his Italian teammate? I think A will hold on to P4 for now. If there is no team orders here in play, Epsilon is being very, very lenient. Oh, sorry for that. Not every teammate is gonna hold back so much. I think Epsilon would be coming on the radio and letting A know that he wants to be led by because he has a lot of pace, and the frustration would set in, and as a result we can see here a little bit of contact, but just clipping the curb there, Epsilon, and diving headfirst into the wall. Lucky for him, D-Dubs is a few seconds behind. Epsilon will rejoin in 7th. It's now Fancy Locks up into P6, so my prediction has been proven right, unless those behind him get past him. So Fancy Locks did get back up to a top 6 in the order. Well, GMS using epic mind games there to try and hassle the Lamborghinis around him. D-Dubs and Decoy managed to get past Epsilon, who is obviously a bit out of shape here after that pretty severe collision into the wall. That would have hampered his confidence and, well, given him a bit of a headache there. Well, I don't think I recognize the person who's making the comments here. Is that Epsilon who's making the comments right now? I think we'll find out in a moment. Christoph, yeah, I'm not sure who Christoph is. Christoph, are you Epsilon? I'm not sure of the real names of guys who are racing. So maybe I'm drawing conclusions, but let's follow this battle here. Goose versus A. You are Epsilon, alright. So we are following a teammate right now. A and Goose. A is pretty desperate to get past the McLaren. Goose does not want to give an inch. A trying for the switchback, but Goose covers it off, and A will still be behind Goose for the time being. This is the new Turbo Boy and JMS, I think. With Goose and A. I heard the barrier clanging there. What's happened? Is that just me hearing things probably? A and Goose still going at it. JMS, I don't think is particularly enjoying right now. Yeah, right. He's not mentioned a particular way to go about it. I think that is the name that has stuck with me. It's the one that I can remember pretty easily. Is just A in the Lamborghini, who is close. So Turbo Boy is, I think, he knows that he doesn't need to take any unnecessary risks here. Hello people, I see a lot of people have joined in. I'm assuming it's a few of them are the guys on track. So let's see. Well, we have Goose87 in the chat. Well, hello Goose, you'll be watching yourself defend P3 against A in the Lamborghini. The Italian in the Lamborghini. JMS is a little further back, but if the two ahead of him battle, he has a shot at the podium. And Fancy Locks, he spun at the exit of the Senna SS on lap 1. I think it was about a 10-second gap or something once he got going again to the driver ahead of him in 14th place. And he's now running in P6. He can see the podium right in front of his very eyes. He can see that the McLaren ahead is the podium. He has to get past 3 cars in order to stand on the rostrum. Will he be able to get a double podium at his home race? Will A be able to get past Goose and secure the rostrum for himself? I'm pretty sure Great Dane and Turbo Boy have secured the podium for themselves. It's going to be a matter of whether it's going to be Goose, A, JMS or Fancy Locks. Speedy Brazilian Nugget, as he likes to be called it. Deco and P7 running a bit of a quiet race, but P7 I think he can be pleased with that. Right now D-Dubs is also a few seconds down the road. Battle still raging on, and A sends it down the inside. Goose goes for the switchback, and that will frustrate A. But that is pretty smart from Goose. I think he could see that A was about to go for the dive by the judgment of his car where it was placed on track. The number 610 Lamborghini is vying for the final spot on the rostrum. Goose 87, can he hold off, I should say, the Lamborghini? A, I think, will try and move around the outside. There's a little bit of contact. There's some wheel banging there. Goose will have to cover the inside, I think. Just doesn't want to take any chances there. and give A the upper hand. There is a fair bit of contact here, but I don't think it's problematic contact here between these two. A is still behind Goose, who has been putting up a pretty valiant defense here. JMS is coming under pressure, increasing pressure from Fancy. However, Fancy has pretty old tires, so I think JMS would be aware of that. Goose on the run up towards the start-finish line as we begin the penultimate lap of the race. Turbo has already started it, and Great Dane will follow suit. These two are now going to start the penultimate lap. A has this lap and the next to get past Goose. And it's at this point where you may see some pretty audacious moves, because it's coming up to the end of the race. Drivers will be getting just very feisty, very desperate probably to make a move before the race concludes. Arix in P9 despite that spin, so both the drivers have had a pretty problematic spin. That's Fancy and Arix have been able to claw their way back up into reasonable places. Fancy's in P6, Arix in P9. Fancy is putting GMS under pressure, but I think he'll be mindful of his tires. What about these two, A and Goose? Will A send it on the inside, hang it around the outside? Oh, I think actually he'll stay where he is right now for the time being. He's a little too far back, is what he is. Goose in P3, A is trying to send it on the inside. Goose, I think, realized that a little bit too late, and that is going to give A the upper hand and the advantage and the track position at, forgive me for this, Bico de Pato. A has gotten into the final podium place, but the race is not over yet. Goose, who held on to P3 for so many laps, he defended so valiantly, will now have to do some attacking, and it's now A who was doing pretty fierce attacking, who's now going to have to defend equally as fiercely as we start the final lap of this rather entertaining Brazilian Grand Prix. Into the Sennas as we go. We follow Goose and A. Turbo Boy leads comfortably. We'll get back to him in a moment. We'll follow these two for the time being. What about Fancy and JMS? I think Fancy is just going to settle for P6 right now. It's a pretty good finish considering the situation he found himself in. Deco, I think, will have no pressure ahead or behind him, so D-Dubs is quite a ways back. But what about these two? Goose is not as close to A as A was to him. So we go through, well, I don't know the name of this corner, I forgot. We are approaching Marulio, I think, in a few corners time. The downhill section. So I think that section is where Goose has been a little bit stronger than A, but A has built up enough of a gap right now, which I think will render that advantage null and void. So unless A makes a mistake approaching Junsao or the final or the run up to the line, I think that's the podium set. And I will give Turbo Boy some airtime here. He stayed behind JMS for, I think it was 12 laps or so. Just stayed patient, and I think he's going to get his reward there. Turbo Boy comes across the line to win the Brazilian feature race. Great Dane finishes in P2. Klinka Chow. A finishes in third after a pretty late move to take that P3. Goose finishes in fourth. He'll be a little upset with losing P3 so late on. JMS in P5. He led the race for a long time but finished in P5 at the end. Fancy finishes P6. Good, very good recovery from him. Deco in 7th and D-Dubs in P8. I think the pair of them will be satisfied with what they've got here. Arix in 9th. Nate finishes in the top 10. Sherry just drifts across the line, finishes in 11th. I don't think he'll be particularly pleased with that, but well, it's onwards and upwards. Rocket and Epsilon. Whoa! Rocket will finish ahead of Epsilon, and there you go. Rocket finishes in 12th. Epsilon now a bit of an unlucky 13th, and know what's happened here to Dykstra. A penalty and a spin, and look at his rear right. It's on the verge of a puncture. Y-Cube will be 15. Dykstra, I think, has just enough tires to bring him across the line. and finished the race in 14th. That is pretty disappointing for the promise that it showed from Dijkstra. YQ will also be pretty upset with, I think, the way strategy panned out. He finishes last of the running cars in 15th position. And there you go. That is the end of the feature race here at Brazil. That was a pretty entertaining race weekend. Thank you to all those of you who have tuned in. I have received a message from somebody. Oh, never mind. Okay. So, okay. Thank you to all those of you who tuned in to watch the stream. Thank you to all the drivers for a pretty eventful race, pretty entertaining race. I think this was one of my favorite races to do comms on. Well, absolutely, GMS. I think Tuesday is a pretty comfortable day for me these days, so I will try to do comms every day, every week on this particular day. I will get the timing sorted out properly. But nonetheless, thank you to everyone. Thank you to all the viewers for tuning in. Thank you to all those who left a comment. And we shall see you. Let me get my memory right. Daytona. We will see you next week at Daytona over in the USA. Until then, thank you. Take care and bye bye.